You ever have a moment where the world goes so still, so strangely quiet, that you just know something is about to change? That's how it felt that afternoon. The kind of silence that doesn't warn you, it just waits. I hadn't planned on seeing anyone that day. I'd chosen the trail because it was tucked away, out of reach from the usual hikers. I needed space to think, to breathe. Life had felt heavy lately, like I was walking around carrying secrets I hadn't admitted even to myself. My husband was distant, distracted. And his son Ethan, well, he had a way of looking at me that I didn't know how to handle. The climb burned, gravel biting under my boots, breath steady in my chest. By the time I crested the ridge, I thought I'd earned a little solitude. The view opened in front of me, rolling forest stretched wide under golden light, leaves painted in autumn fire. For a second, it felt like mine alone. But I wasn't alone. 3 men were already there. Ethan stood a few feet away, calm, relaxed, like he'd been expecting me. His 2 friends, Ryan and Chase, sat on a broad stone near the overlook. None of them looked surprised to see me. None of them moved quickly, either. They just shifted, slow and steady, forming a loose circle without saying a word. I froze for half a breath. My instinct told me to turn around, to walk back down that trail and pretend I hadn't come this far. But I didn't. I stood there, heart ticking faster than my steps had, and waited. Ethan was the first to speak. His voice was low, steady. "We thought you might want company." He held out a water bottle, the cap already loose. Such a simple gesture, but it made my pulse kick. I hesitated, then stepped forward and took it. The water slid cool down my throat, grounding me, and I realized I hadn't asked why they were there. They hadn't explained. Somehow it felt like all of us already knew. Ryan watched me quietly, his expression unreadable, his gaze never leaving me. Chase kept his eyes on the horizon, as if the view mattered more than anything happening between us. But Ethan, he didn't look away. "Sit if you want," Ryan said, motioning toward the stone. I sat. The sun had warmed the rock, heat seeping into me as I rested my hands at my sides. My phone slipped from my grip and I picked it back up, fingers brushing dust away. Ryan moved next, lowering himself onto the rock just close enough that I felt it. Not too close. Just enough. "You came up the North Trail?" Chase asked suddenly, his tone more like an observation than a question. I nodded. "Past the falls." "That's the quiet way," Ethan said softly. "I like the quiet." I tucked my hair behind my ear, trying not to let my hands shake. The stillness between us wasn't awkward, it was dense, charged, like the air before a storm. Every movement mattered. Every glance carried weight. Chase gestured toward the overlook. "Want a picture?" Grateful for the distraction, I handed him my phone. He stepped toward the edge, raising it. I shifted closer, standing where the horizon stretched endless before me. Ryan stood behind me, his presence unmistakable. My shoulders stiffened until I felt his hand, light and steady, brushing dust from my shirt. "Caught your fabric," he said quietly, shaking the edge free before stepping back. The shutter clicked. I looked at the photo, better than I expected. But I didn't move right away. Ryan stayed behind me, silent. Chase lowered the phone, expression unreadable. And Ethan stepped closer, offering his hand. I took it. Calm. Steady. Like it marked the end of a conversation we hadn't spoken aloud. Only then did I notice how fast my heart had been beating. They didn't crowd me. They didn't push. But they adjusted, shifting just enough to stand around me without closing in. The stillness thickened. A breeze tugged at my hair and I swallowed, aware of every heartbeat, every breath. Ryan moved first, brushing a leaf off my arm. Simple. Ordinary. But not ordinary at all. Chase stepped close enough that I felt the air shift beside me, his hand lifting, hesitating near my face before he let it fall back. Ethan stayed steady, his eyes fixed on mine, like he was waiting for me to decide what would happen next. And here's the strange part, I wasn't afraid. It didn't feel like pressure. It felt like possibility. Like I'd stumbled into a moment that wasn't planned, wasn't rehearsed, but had been waiting for me all along. The light shifted, the sun slipping lower. The forest glowed in shades of gold and shadow. Someone murmured something too soft to catch. None of them moved closer, none of them pulled away. They just waited. One hand reached near mine, not grabbing, not demanding. Just there. Hovering. I didn't pull back. I didn't step away. I didn't even breathe too loudly, afraid it would break whatever fragile thing we had stumbled into. I couldn't tell you if I was about to step forward or if I was just holding still long enough to decide. But here's my question for you. If you were standing where I was surrounded, not by pressure but by possibility, would you have stayed, too? Let me know in the comments. And if you haven't already, tap like, hit subscribe, and turn on notifications. You don't want to miss what happens next. Because trust me, this was only the beginning.